Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rapid Chess here, and today is first day of Crypto Cup quarterfinals. These are the results. So, не помнящий Hikaru на draw. Wesley saw one against Vashela Graf. This is what I would expect. Bit unexpectedly, Timur outplayed Giri. Well, I think that Giri might equalize tomorrow. At least he has to. And the total bloodlust has been in Nakamura Carlsen. So Magnus had to win the last game, which I'm going to show you. And they all 4 games were Italian games, and so players just show absolutely no mercy to each other and play extremely aggressive. What I can say is that this last game, as far as I checked with the engine, has been good quality game. It looked like that they're playing doing really good moves, and that's not really for this time format that players play the best game, but let's see it. Okay, so Magnus has to win in order to draw the match, and he plays white. E4. I think in the last tournaments Magnus more played D4, and I think it is caused because he wants E4 is his the strongest move, and he wants to keep it for more important matches, so to say, so that his vision of the board is more sharp than normal. When he plays D4 and outplays opponent in, I think, more in the end game. Now he's becoming more and more aggressive player, and we don't see so many end games right now where he's of course extremely strong. So E5, knight D3, knight C6, and bishop C4, Gioco piano. It has received a lot of development recently. Game is not that balanced as let's say if you play for bishop b5 and Naka most likely will play Berlin defense, then it's like theory for move 25 and even later. In Italian game it's more based on intuition. So bishop c5. Now many players also answer with knight f6 for knight's defense, which Magnus plays as black as well. Castles, knight f6, d3. Knight c3 would be a mistake because black can capture on e5 and play d5. So d3, castles, and h3, taking away this square from the bishop. And black plays d5. I normally, when I play with white this position, I don't like when black is allowed to play this kind of move. Their position is more logical to me than you just want to keep your pawn on e5, but in this position it's the only move is to take. And black kind of receive more space in the center because of this e5 pawn. a4, taking space on the queen side and probably preparing moving bishop back. Bishop e6 and knight g5. So it's amazing, but this position hasn't been in my database, so it's only move 9 and even though I have mega base, it's still novelty. No one played, I think, because of this move, but Nakamura had this analyzed. He played bishop to f5, and position is basically equal. I think that my stockfish 13, which is on my chess bases, gives better evaluation for white, but this position is like almost equal. Queen f3, attacking two pieces at once, and knight to d7. I like black's position. I don't know. I don't believe really in this tactics against f7, and but Magnus makes it work. He decides to push on the queen side. He plays c3 first, takes away this important d4 square, which could be used for the knight to jump. h6, knight e4, very wisely using the square which he exchanged the pawn, and now it's free, so he uses it for transferring his pieces. And b4. When your opponent has no piece has been exchanged, it's extremely effective to push with the pawns. The engine, of course, will defend, but for human, it's hard to find a proper place for a piece all the time. a6, knight b to d2. So as long as this square is taken, Magnus very wisely defends with the knight, and at some point why his position is much better is because these two knights, they now interfere with each other, but when Magnus decides, he will exchange it for the bishop and put the second knight on e4. So I think now his position looks really I don't know, beautiful. Yeah, just all pieces are coordinating. This queen here cannot be attacked, and it's actually very active here. It can go to g3 and attack h6 and g7, and for black, it somehow they don't have any target to attack. So king h8. At some point black wants to play f5, I think. That could be that was Hikaru's idea, and hard to find another plan. And bishop a3. Again, white will take surely on d6, and then this bishop will be extremely powerful. It will hit this diagonal and pin the knight and attack the rook on f8. So very useful to have the bishop here. Bishop g6 takes, and b5. So pushing the knight from this outpost in not outpost, but just post on c6, and trying to, attack the queen side. Also, this b7 pawn is quite vulnerable. Knight a5, bishop b4. So if Hikaru takes, then knight c4, and these two pieces, they just destroy the queen side. So d6 is weak, and all the squares, the dark squares, are fully under control of white. So Hikaru didn't play like that. He took the pawn and played b6. So this is the first line, and Hikaru defends so far really well. He's Magnus is on +1, but still black has this idea to play f5, and if they exchange at least one piece, then they might not be in that bad spot. bishop d5, and rook c8. So let's see what will happen if we take. Then queen d5, and the engine just says that white is totally dominating. So they attack this a8 square. They can just double the rooks on the a file and at some point exchange the piece and win the a file. So Hikaru is not doing that. He plays rook c8 and c4. So again, extremely good placement of pieces by Magnus. Yeah, his positional wise, he is like monster in this game. So just look how these bishops work together. It's very hard, you know, to get this kind of structure. They dominate the dark squares. This bishop is extremely strong, and this is like beautiful bishop in the center. f5 and bishop e6. Again, I would take this bishop here, but yeah, queen comes back and attacks immediately pawn on d6, which you cannot defend. Yeah, so Hikaru is very patient here. He waits for better moment, plays f5, bishop e6, rook to b8, and Magnus decides to take. So he decided that his pieces are very active right now. He doesn't want to allow additional exchanges, and as long as he can start pushing the center, not in the center but on the queen side, he decides to give back, exchange the dark square bishop. But just notice, yeah, that when you have this beautiful bishop and this very bad knight, so you shouldn't exchange them unless you're very sure of what's going to be next. Yeah, if you don't see how to proceed directly, then better to keep these pieces like that. All right, so bishop takes, and d4. So this is all the first line. As I said, like this game was extremely strong, and Magnus played a lot of first line moves. So d4 like looks quite unexpected. So black can take, but after knight to b3, then this knight infiltrates. It will take the pawn on d4. And then c6 is weak, e6 is weak. So just so many moves for black, for white, and black has no moves basically. Also, this knight here will assist these pawns to move forward. All right, so rook f6, good move, attacking the bishop. And Magnus played d5 again, the engine move, just reinforcing this beautiful bishop, and he feels that he can exchange the light square bishop, so then the king side might become weaker. So exchanges the bishops and plays knight to b3, attacking the a5 pawn. Rook a8. And c4. So this is, I think, the only just little bit small mistake by Magnus. Engine proposes to play rook a3 and rook a1 and says that he has decisive advantage. But Magnus decided that he can win with this direct assault. So if pawn takes, then d6 is winning. Yeah, and if, let's say, plays e4, then in Zwischenzug d takes c, winning the piece. Otherwise, I think that you have to play something like this, and this two pawns will decide the game. Queen cannot take the pawn because this rook is hanging. So c5, and in this position Hikaru had to play according to engine a4 or rook b8. He played a4, pushing the knight, and Magnus unexpectedly played c6. So I think I've seen Magnus playing like that. He understands these structures very well, and ready to give up even a piece when he has these two connected pass pawns, and which will create so many tactical ideas that just you even cannot buy out with giving the knight back. So he played c6, queen b6. Hikaru didn't capture the knight. Queen d3, just calmly defending, and also the knight cannot be taken because of the pin. And rook b8, and in this position Hikaru blundered massively. So because he thought that after takes Magnus will take and he will defend this position, but very strong move, c7. So everything is hanging, and still you cannot take the queen because white will take back and put their own queen on board, and just his rook up. So Hikaru didn't take. He played knight to g6, and Karyakin style move, rook to b4, defending the b5, and now he prepares a maneuver to push back the queen. Knight f4, and just immediately Magnus took this knight and played knight to d4. Like when Magnus just started playing, he was very well known for this exchange sacrifice, and won many players, even like such players as Topalov, fully just outplaying them with bishop against a rook. So in this case he just sees that black is not in time to create any threat, so the engine's evaluation is +6. f3, rook c1, rook a7, and knight to e6. And in this position Hikaru resigned. He cannot stop this pawn from promotion. Alright, thank you very much, and see you next time.